We have a ton of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet leaks and updates coming from the Riddler himself, and it's all about those new Pokemon that were hidden in yesterday's trailer. Let's take a look. Alright, so I'm not kidding when the Riddler popped off on Twitter yesterday and today, bringing us a ton of information about all these different Pokemon that were kind of shown, hidden, teased, and so on and so forth, from the mouse Pokemon to Sarah Ledge's pre-evolution to the spider coin Pokemon and much more. So we're going to talk about all of that in this video, so get yourselves ready, stay tuned, and we're gonna have a blast. Before we dive into today's video, I have to tell you guys about my love for something you may not expect. Paimon. Yeah, that's right, the iconic Paimon from Genshin Impact is one of my absolute favorite characters of all time. Thanks to Genshin Impact for sponsoring today. Did you know that Genshin Impact and Paimon are taking part in one of the best events in the world? New York Comic-Con 2022. And guests have a chance to get a free Paimon wig and posters at the booth. Overall, you're sure to see that Paimon has a heavy presence as Genshin Impact's icon at New York Comic-Con 2022. The ever so lovely Paimon is an NPC in Genshin Impact who accompanies the traveler throughout their adventure in Teyvat as their guide. Paimon is cute, bubbly, and loves to eat as much as I do. Paimon even saved the traveler's life to start their adventure. How could we live without the iconic Paimon? Everyone has their favorite moments of the character Paimon, and mine has to be, "What do you mean? Hee hee," which I'm sure you're familiar with. Paimon's the very best partner, right? You may have seen my tweet where I did my best to imitate the adorable Paimon, and you should try it too. So join me in celebrating our Genshin Icon Paimon, #BeingGenshinIcon, now on Twitter. How to join the #BeingGenshinIcon challenge? Simply follow these steps. Take a selfie posing with Paimon's iconic expression, include the #BeingGenshinIcon, and post it to Twitter. You can check out my tweet in the description and join in on the fun. I hope you have a chance to enjoy the festivities at New York Comic-Con with the iconic Paimon. So check the description below and download Genshin Impact now. Thanks again to Genshin Impact for sponsoring today's video. Okay, first things first, we're gonna take a look at the two mice Pokemon here. It says they evolve into 3/4, so I think we've got two mice. This is one Pokemon, they're like a little duo, and I think that we're gonna end up with 4 mice total when all is said and done. Goes on to say that the Ratmon is fun. They have evolved subtly and unconsciously. Summary for the whole process. They did, they had, they bore. So that makes me think that there's like some sort of like pregnant mouse going on. I don't know, man. I'm a little confused about that, but nonetheless, it seems that you start with 2. We're probably gonna end up with a full mouse family when all is said and done. It's crazy how this stuff was left in. And what's funny is, I talked about this in yesterday's video, but it seems as though the Japanese trailer was much smoother, like the frame rate was way better and things like that. So a lot of people were thinking that maybe it wasn't intentional that they left these things in and that it was from old footage and they didn't change it. I don't know. But nonetheless, that's what we have from the Riddler regarding the little mouse family. Now, this is one of the more interesting pieces. We see this Pokemon jumping in the background of the scene. Very subtle, very hard to notice. But a lot of people are thinking this may be the new spider Pokemon. This could be like a beetle or a scarab type Pokemon. But the Riddler is indicating that this is the coin Pokemon. And he said this is not its formal form. So indicating that this is the coin Pokemon, but that's not what it normally looks like. And you could almost see maybe there's like some gold on its back. Maybe that's a coin. But then he posts an image of little item detectors. And if you know in Pokemon, you have the item finder and you kind of walk around the map and things like that. And I can see the little antlers that are flopping on its head turning into item finders, and this being able to how you find the coins, this coin Pokemon. So if you haven't been following the leaks, basically the coin Pokemon is very similar to the Spiritomb quest in Legends Arceus, where you got to go find a bunch of these things, and then ultimately it's going to make this new Pokemon. So apparently this is one of the coolest Pokemon in the game, by the way, and it's going to be like an item finder type Pokemon. So it has he also goes on to say that it has no color variation. So the original thought that it was supposed to have color variations and things like that, he says that there's no color variation. So another thing worth noting there. But again, very cool stuff. This may have something to do with the item finder and how you're going to find various things as you play through the game. But it's definitely the item finder, so no doubt about that. The next thing he talks about is this post with the engine, basically, right? The car Pokemon. Says same concept. So it's a picture of the engine and the car from Team Star's base, and then a bike with a Rotom phone in it. So it's almost as if the engine possesses the car. It's not a car Pokemon, but it's like an engine Pokemon, much like Rotom phone possesses the bike and allows the bike to kind of function. Then goes on to say, someone asks, is this the same mon or a pre-evolution? Regarding like a piece of the car sticking out, he says, this Pokemon doesn't look like this or that in the previous trailers when merging with a vehicle. So I guess I'm not really sure what to say. Maybe it's like Rotom and it has different forms. Maybe this engine Pokemon is gonna look very different. I think we have to not make too many stark assumptions about what this engine Pokemon actually looks like, because it may look a little bit different when it's not fused with a car. Just like Rotom looks a little bit different when it's a phone and when it's with a bike, right? Like, that's what I'm saying. So I think while we have a good idea of what the engine Pokemon looks like in the context of with it, the car, again, I'm just saying that it may look a little bit different when it's not kind of fused with the car. Couple other bits of information that I thought were pretty crucial. We know that there's a pre-evolution of the spider Pokemon, which was shown. Basically, beads of silk spider. If you guys noticed, there was these different items that are going to drop from various Pokemon that we're going to use to craft for TMs and things like that. And it seems as though one of them were kind of shown in the trailer indicating the spider Pokemon, which, again, going back to the first trailer, we had that spider web laying out. This is the pre-evolution of the spider Pokemon. So we know that again, this is confirmed, and we don't really know what it looks like or anything. It's not the coin thing we saw earlier, but it is going to be a Pokemon in the game. So another little teaser, lots of little teasers, lots of little nuanced things in this trailer that indicate, kind of some of the stuff that's coming for the upcoming game and new Pokemon and stuff. So even though we just got Farigiraf, it's hard to remember how to say that. Even though we just got Farigiraf, we actually got so much more than that, which is pretty wild stuff if you really think about it. And then last but not least here, in terms of what the Riddler's got to say, you've got the pre-evolution, and he does confirm that that is the pre-evolution of Armarouge and Ceruledge. So this was indeed shown in Team Star's base, which, again, no mention of it at all. We see the super blurry image of it, and it is indeed that. It is indeed what we thought. So a lot of this stuff being confirmed by the Riddler, a lot of leaks being confirmed. This is pretty wild, man. I mean, they really hit a lot of things in there. They had the Salt Pokemon. They had so many things. The Parakeet. I mean, all that stuff being kind of thrown in there. It just makes me wonder, was it intentional or was it not? I just don't know. One other thing I wanted to mention was there was an image of a TM12 with Hariyama, and a lot of people were speculating that maybe this was the Paradox Hariyama form. My guess at this point is that this is a regular Hariyama, and it's just the lighting kind of created from double kick or whatever the kick move is, jump kick, rolling kick, whatever it is. I don't think this is actually the Paradox Hariyama form, and it makes me think more about the Paradox forms in the sense that it's very likely that they don't actually reveal them before the game comes out. If Paradox forms are key to the story, we've already gotten, Koraidon and Miraidon as Paradox forms, which we don't know that they're Paradox forms yet, right? And, we have a handful of other ones that are going to be probably baked into the mid or post game, like the climax of the story in the post game. It makes sense that they maybe don't show them. So the fact that we got Farigiraf and the fact that, they teased a bunch of Pokemon intentionally or unintentionally leads me to believe that there's probably still more to come over the next, 6 weeks or so. But I'm just saying, like, when it comes to the topic of Paradox forms, I think there's a likelihood that they don't actually reveal them prior to the game. This is something that we just know through leaks, and that's probably what it's gonna be. So I think that's pretty much it, man. A lot of stuff coming from the leakers. I think we're probably gonna get another wave of information coming from the leaker as well, as that's just how these kinds of things go. Hopefully you enjoyed this one. Like the video if you did, and subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. And let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about all of the new leaked Pokemon. Pretty wild stuff. I'm calling them leaked. Obviously, they were an official trailer, but I feel like I don't think they were intentional, man. I really think someone messed up, if I'm being totally honest with you guys. And a big shout out to our sponsor today, of course, for the video. So thank you guys for that. You can check that out in the description below. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.